Welcome back. Phone lines are open and the number there, right there on your screen. I want to get your take here. This month, we're going to start to see some movement. There will be walkouts in schools across this country. You're going to have on March 24th, you're going to have a national, basically a walk for life here in D.C. We'll be there covering it as well in 50 other cities at the same time. And it will continue. The kids, the youth, have done something different after this tragedy than we've seen in prior ones, and their voice is being heard. So what I want to know, and I'm going to give a little bit of a wind-up here in a second, is all these conversations, all these proposals, what do you want to see happen here specifically out of Washington? And as I said, this debate has captivated our country over the past 2 weeks, and it's causing a surge in interest on issues of gun control, with increasing numbers of people supporting various measures. Take a look at these poll numbers. More than 2/3, they want stricter laws. 97%, since when do 97% of Americans agree on anything? They want universal background checks. 81%, they want to raise the age for any gun purchase to 21, and 2/3, they want to ban assault rifles. Now, yesterday, as Mr. Brodsky pointed out here, the president hosted a bipartisan meeting to discuss this issue and more. And I got to tell you, if you thought it was going according to script, it didn't. Take a listen to what some of the lawmakers and the president had to say.
We need to get started on things that only we can do, which would be this background check system.
I'm going to write the bump stock, essentially write it out. So you won't have to worry about bump stock. Shortly, that'll be gone.
I want to bring us back to this issue of background checks, if I could, because I think there's real opportunity.
I agree.
There is no other issue out there in the American public today like background checks. 97% of Americans want universal background checks.
We're at a tipping point. We're at a tipping point, and why we are, I don't know, but I think it's the students.
You know why we are?
I think it's the students.
Elizabeth, you know why we are? Because a week will go by, another week, another week, another week, and all of a sudden, people are going to be onto other things. We can't let that happen.
All right, we're going to bring in the callers right now, guys, and jump in. What I'd like to focus this segment on is what you want to see happen, and also what we heard yesterday from that really riveting conversation around the table in D.C. All right, let's go to Elaine first from the Bronx. Elaine, you're on, and a reminder, everybody, please turn down your TV sets when you're on the phone. The floor is yours, Elaine.
Yes, thanks for taking my call. I love your show. Concerning the arms, I don't think teachers should be armed. First of all, if you start with the teachers, next month it will be healthcare workers, following month will be pastors. Mental health is the key right now. That young man who did this killing, he had mental health issues which were gone unchecked. So the president can sit up there and talk crap, but it's our children who are dying. And I think all these kids in Florida, they should run for office from the president and kick out all those Congress and senators out of Washington, because those young people make much more sense than what I'm hearing. As a healthcare provider in a busy ER, I don't think arming people, everyone should not be armed, and they need to think straight and let the young people run the show now. Okay, thanks for taking my...
And thank you for the call. We're going to get into in the next segment about arming schools here, but let's see what Tom and Bethpage has to say. Tom, you're on the line.
Hi, Mr. French. My feeling is that a lot of these suggestions, all well and good, are just Band-Aids on the problem. I think all the emphasis, and a lot of the politicians I think are afraid to mention it, is that the AR-15 and these clips with 10 rounds or more should be banned. Just like they banned machine guns, they should ban these weapons also. I don't say these other ideas are wrong, but it's just a Band-Aid on the problem. Thank you for taking my call.
Well, thank you. I'm going to get to more phone calls in a second. As I said, you were in the military. I've heard a lot of military folks, even members, they come back, the members of the NRA, and they say, wait a minute, what I got issued, including a Republican congressman was talking about this recently as well. He said, what I got issued is like the AR-15. Mm-hmm. The only reason they gave it to us was to kill. This is not a sporting weapon whatsoever. They got a big problem with this. Instead of being on a battlefield, being on basically American soil. What's your thought?
Well, I think we got to start with practical solutions first of all. And those practical solutions, I think, start with who can own guns, first of all. The Second Amendment is here; it's not going anywhere, and therefore, to say we should take rifles away from people, which the AR-15 is a rifle, just because, I think is not going to be something that's going to have universal support. I think we need to decide who's going to have access to weapons, and that's going to be
So
maybe raise the age.
you'd be against banning any type of weapon.
Well, I mean, you don't need a bazooka, you don't need a machine gun.
Why do
but
you need an AR-15?
why not? What's wrong with the AR-15?
Because it's been used to commit mass murder.
So is a handgun.
Not mass murders like that. The mass murderers have
The only
been
way
using these guns.
the mass murders take place because of a bump stock. The guy in Las Vegas was able to shoot off multiple rounds.
My only point, Richard, is I hear you, but if you're comfortable removing a bump stock,
Yeah,
that people
that's
can't
fine.
modify it and put that on a gun, why wouldn't you also be comfortable with preserving the Second Amendment, but certain guns, since I've had a guest on this program who said, yeah, I'd let somebody have a rocket launcher. I'd let somebody basically have, a tank if he wants. So you at least believe that there is a limit to it, right?
There absolutely is a limit, and I don't think that limit is on an AR-15 that I shoot regularly, actually.
Yes, but okay. Let me see what Will's got to say. He's calling us from Babylon. Will, you believe this comes down to mental health, right?
Yeah, Rich, I definitely agree. It's more of a mental health issue, but like he was just saying about the limit on, what kind of firearms, an AR-15 is a semi-automatic weapon. It is not full auto. Yeah, a bump stock can make it nearly full auto, but it's not reaching that capability. It really comes down to, we say Parkland, Florida, right? This kid was let go on the system. Multiple calls to that house. No one checked up on him. The system failed. We have laws in place. Not allowed to murder, not allowed to carry a firearm on campus, and no one caught him there. Also, too, we had sheriffs outside the door waiting to go in. If we had teachers armed...
You and I both know we all want this never to get into the school. We can certainly agree that the response should have been different. But my question to you is, what did you think when the president said yesterday, you know what, if we think somebody's a sicko or whatever he called them, take their gun away and then we'll do due process afterwards. Are you comfortable here? And do you stand with the president when he says first take the guns away and then, let the law work itself out?
System and due process. If you're not brought through court for the proper proceedings to have things taken away, it just can't be taken away like that. In a domestic situation, officers at scene, that might be something different, but just because someone feels, oh, this person...
I got your answer. Well, thank you very much. Charlie, you want to say something?
But it's three Richards. This is
Yeah,
very difficult.
too many.
So, to you, Richard, one of the things that I find very difficult in this whole gun debate, I've never shot a gun. I'm actually against them, but I respect your right to have them. The real difficulty, I think we've got to meet halfway, right? So the problem that I have with your position and a lot of gun owners is with these semi-automatic weapons, to use them at all, right? I don't see why you would use them to hunt. Maybe you can explain to me why you would. But if not to use them for that, but they're just used to kill, why not just eliminate them, right? I understand the argument that the NRA has that says, if you get that, then it's going to take away our right to ban all guns. And I'm saying, I hear that argument, and I respect your right.
Sure. So here's the thing. First of all, semi-automatic weapons are handguns also. The AR-15 just has a larger capacity, a larger magazine. There are two additional issues. One, keeping hands out of people who can now legally purchase guns.
But you see my point,
the second
though?
is keeping illegal weapons out of criminals' hands.
I got,
so
but can you just stick to my point, though?
That's not the issue.
Those are two issues.
The issues are we have people going into schools, murdering school
I said
children.
one is keeping illegal weapons out of people who can get them legally.
But could you stick to my point?
Why do we need an AR-15?
But yeah, is there a problem with just getting rid of that weapon?
There is a problem. There's over 300 million weapons in this country. The overwhelming majority of Americans who own weapons, including rifles like AR-15, don't use them to kill people. Why should they be punished?
But what are they used for, though?
They're used for stuff like when I go out with my friends, former military friends, we go to the practice range, we use AR-15.
Why not leave them there? Why not restrict it? If you're going to do that, you restrict them to a shooting range.
It's
Is
not
that a
matter-
possibility?
It's
No,
not
it's
a matter
not.
of
In some states, it's not going to be a possibility.
It's not a matter of punishing people. It's a matter of people having a reduced set of absolute gun rights so we don't murder children.
Okay.
It's
well,
a balance.
On that
It's
point,
about
on that
safety
point though, we're talking about
and
children.
security.
When we come back, going back to the phone lines, what I want to know is, do we want guns in schools here? And if you think that it's a slam dunk one way or the other, the nation's more divided on this than you may think here. Only a slight plurality say definitely no. When we come back, we'll get your reaction. Stay with us.